Hello, and welcome to another edition of Delta Media Group's Tech Tuesday. Today, I have a pretty interesting one for you. This is a brand new feature, and it's something we've been working on for a little while, and it kind of spins out into multiple other features. But the whole idea is that it is going to integrate like a full CRM with the DeltaNet and make your life a little bit easier, because everything we do in here is about making your life just a little bit easier. All right, so without further ado, let's go into the DeltaNet. Now, what I'm going to go over here is called the customer list. Now, the way this works is it's basically a replacement for the processed leads page. So if you're familiar with that page, and I'll just go down here, leads and contacts, processed leads. So if you're familiar with this page from looking up your leads before, the idea was you can look up any of your customers by customer name in the Customer Center. You can use this page to look them up by more specific criteria. Stuff like when they last had a request on the website, or when the account was first created, or their last name or email address. So you have a lot more search criteria available for you on this page. The idea is that the Customer Center, or the customer list, is what is going to replace this page. So if I go up to Customers and down to Customer List, now here we have something that the list itself, you can see it's higher up on the page, so it's easier to get to, or easier to see quickly. And then all of the filters that were available on that page, on your process leads page, are available at the top of this page in drop-downs. So the idea is that it cleans up the look of the page and makes it a little bit easier to get to this information more quickly. But all of the filters that were previously, or are still actually, available on the process leads page are available on this page. And just kind of look through these here. And then lastly, you have a summary here at the end of where you can filter this, and then you can even name and save the filter in such a way that if you use a common set of filters to bring up the same kind of set of list of customers frequently, you can save that and then reuse that over and over again. So let me give you an idea what I mean. And we'll go to activity. You can see here we can choose from date ranges or just the last 30 days. So this activity are basically the same three options that were at the top of that process leads page. We have request made, last logged into the site, and time that the account was created. So you can use one of these, or you can use any combination of these. So if we want to say created in the last 90 days, we would just select that. We can go here to customer info. We can search by name, and then we have also added the ability to search by spouse name. And you can see that spouse name isn't broken up into a first and last name, but we can say spouse name contains. And then we could just put their first name in, and then it would pick up everybody who has a spouse name entered with that first name. And then these filters are all the same as the other page, including the in-group filter here. So we'll go ahead and select in group A. Close that out. Miscellaneous filters, we can search by their request type, so whether they made a showing request or an email request. If you wanted to see just people who've submitted showing requests in the last 90 days, and say that those are the people that are obviously the really engaged buyers if they're making showing requests, right? So especially recent showing requests. So we'll say request type, showing. We could clear out these filters here. And we can go over to activity and we can say request made, last 90 days, showing request. We can sort by fee type, but we'll leave that alone for now. Initial source, you could look for something that just came from mobile or just came from the company website or your own website. So that's an option that's available in here. And there's another source drop down here. So this is just their initial source, and this is any source. So the difference is with the initial source, that would mean the first request they made came from this initial source. But let's say they made a request on your mobile website. That was their initial request, and then they went to the company website later on and made another request. So they'd have their first request would be mobile agent website, your site. Their second request would be company website. So this looks for any of their requests matching any of these sources. And now when we look at filter tools, we can see that we can name this filter and we can save it. So that allows us to save this search where it's looking at only requests made in the last 90 days, created in the last 90 days that made a showing request. We would save the name, click save, and then we'd be able to pull this up anytime. It's pretty cool, right? So lastly, if your company allows the ability to it, you can click export. and you can actually export this list. It's similar to the customer export, but it exports more like the lead information as opposed to all of the customer information like the Customer Center export does. But kind of the key to this filter tools page is that you get a quick summary of everything that you've put in criteria-wise. Because if we go through the rest of these, that way, it would be really easy if you wanted to look through these and see your search filters and end up overlooking something. Because of this filter summary, you don't have to worry about that. All right, so let's run an actual search so we can see how this thing looks. So we'll go down here and we'll say in group, and I just want everybody in group A. I don't have a lot of customers in this count, so we don't have a ton to look at. And we'll clear out our filters here. And we'll clear out our request type filter. Now if I check my filter tools, I'm looking at group A and that's it. Click search. And there we go. So I've got 13 customers. These are my 13 customers in group A. Easy enough. Now, we have also included an advanced set of filters in here. So if you're looking for a really specific kind of search, you can still do that. So to give you an idea how that works, I'll click up here on the binoculars, and that'll let us fine-tune a really specific search. So in this case, I'll just say, we can name it and save it just like the other search, but we'll say I'm looking for group name in group A. So basically what I'm looking for is any customer that's in group A. Now if I add an additional rule, we can see and is selected, so it's going to look for anybody that is in group A and anyone that is not in group B. So we had a request recently that was something along the lines of someone had a list of real estate agents, and they also had a list of people in a certain area. What they wanted was a list of the people in that area that excluded the ones that are also in the real estate agent list. That's exactly what this is for. So you're saying in group A, that would be in your 44708 zip code list, but not in your real estate agent group. So that would give you everyone that is in your 44708 group that is not a real estate agent because they're not in your real estate group. When you have those selected, you just click search, and there you have it. It returns all the customers that match that criteria. Now this is even more powerful than that. So right now I have in this and in this, but I can add a whole group, and we'll switch that to or. So let's say we're looking for in group A, not in group B, with a date created between, I'm just picking some random dates here. So create an account between those dates, and we'll add an additional rule, or the last login between, the dates haven't even happened yet. There we go. So now you can see I've made a more complicated set of rules. So we have in group A and also not in group B. So anybody that's in group A that's not in group B, and anybody who had their account created between these dates or last logged in between these dates. So not that this specifically is a particularly useful search, but that highlights the capabilities of this system. All these ands and ors allow you to come up with a really complicated set of customers that will exactly fit the set of customers you're looking for. Because a big part of the system is the idea that you want to market the right things to the right set of customers. So the ability to really fine-tune that customer set is really important. And that's exactly how this system works. Now let's say you come up with something really specific, really kind of long-winded like that. If I wanted to save this, I could just type my fancy search. Let's do that. My fancy search, click save, and that would save this search, and I could then pull it up anytime I want to, and it would return all the customers that on that day match this set of search results. So pretty cool stuff. In fact, I'll save it. There we go. And now you can see I have this drop down where I can choose from my saved searches. All right, so let me back out of this. No surprise that that didn't match anything. We'll go back to our customer list. Now let's say that I've already performed the search I want. So I have all the criteria in, and this is the customer set I'm looking for. From here, I have this multi-select ability. So I can go through here, and when I click on, now it'll start off like this, but when I click on select customers, it'll open up these checkboxes. I can click on select to select all the ones on this page. I can make the page bigger, up to 100, by just selecting there, and that adds more results to the page. I only have 15 customers, so that's why I didn't load 100. But there we go. So now I've selected all of the results of this search, and I'll click open. Now I've just mass opened that set of customers. So what I can do from here is I can use the next button to quickly cycle from one customer to the next. So the idea here is I could use this as a functioning CRM where I can go straight from one customer to the next customer. I can contact them, leave a note, do the next one, contact, leave a note, and just run down the list. So I have my first customer. The idea is I would go down here, find their phone number. I could even do this on a mobile device. So I would load this up on my phone. I'd go down here, find their phone number, tap on the little phone number icon there. That'll open up the dialer on my phone. I'll make a phone call. After my call, I'll click on Add New Note. I'll type my note in, click Done, and now I've just created a note. Now on to the next one. And it's as simple as that. If they have a cell phone number in here, of course this customer doesn't, but if they had a cell phone number in here, you could send them a text message as well. If you're using a machine like I'm using, if you're using your desktop computer to do this, if you have a text messaging app installed on your computer, you could even go down, click on their SMS number, and send them a text message from your desktop app. I don't think I'll have any of these with a cell phone number. Let's pretend they had a cell phone number. So what I would do is click on Next. I'd go down, find their cell phone number, and there'll be a little SMS icon. If I click on that, it'll open up my SMS app. I'll type in my message and send it, and then I'll go over here and click Add New Note and say, I just sent a text message to this customer. And this kind of a tool is just invaluable. Make it a habit. You get up every day, you go in here, and you run through your customer list. So you can build that really specific list, and then you can go through here and contact everyone in it when you have something that might pertain to them. If you have a new listing that comes on the market that they might be interested in, or you have a new buyer and they are interested in homes that these people own. You could set up these really specific lists and just run through them one at a time like this very quickly. So that is our next option. Now the other thing we can do here is I can create a group from this set of customers. So I've already mass opened these customers. I'll go ahead and say Group C. And I click on Save, and it creates a new group that has this customer set in them. Now this customer set is everybody because that's how we built it, but there you have it. So now if I go into my customer center and take a look, I now have Group C with all 15 customers that I had mass opened. So there you go, simple as that. Now the last thing you can do with the customer list is you can send out some mass emails. So if you've done what I've just done and created a group, you can already use that group with all of your mass email systems in the DeltaNet. So you can send an email blast, you can send, set them up for an email campaign, you can send out an e-card, you can do all of that stuff. But let's say you had your group and you didn't want to create a permanent group for them, but you did want to send them all an e-card because you have, say, a new listing that comes on that matches. So we'll go here, this is my customer list. I'll say, show me 25 since I know I have less than that. Select customers, I'll select all, and obviously you can go through and select them individually as well, assuming you don't want to mass open all of them. And we'll go down here and click on Open. So now we have them opened up. Now let's say I don't want to create a group, but I do want to send this group of people an e-card. So I'll just click on Send an Email. I'll click on e-card. Are you sure you want to send an e-card? Okay. That loads up our e-card interface. So we'll go ahead and say I want to send them I don't want to send them all a birthday e-card. That seems kind of silly. New listing. We'll filter by e-cards. So we'll say we want to send this one. I'll go ahead and click my Just Listed. I will either select the listing from my list here, which should be my listings, or I can type in the MLS number of a listing if I want to send for that one. And I can modify the message if I want to, the listing description. I'll click on Preview, and then here is what I am going to have. You can see the very the very unique images for this one. And Send e-card. You'll see I already have a group selected here, my customer search group, because that's the temporary group that the system created to send this e-card out. I'll put in the email addresses I want to send to, if I want to send to any additional ones, and I'll just click Send. So say I want to send one to myself. I'll just put myself in here, I'll click Send, that'll send one to me, and it'll send one to the group. Or I could even uncheck the group if I decide that I didn't want to go ahead, or if I changed my mind, and click Send and just send one out to myself. And then just like what the e-card system is capable of, I can go down here and I can share the e-card on social media. But that's part of the e-card tutorial, which we just did a couple weeks ago. And there you go. That's all there is to it. Now if I wanted to send an e-blast, that works essentially the same way. I select e-blast, takes me here, if I scroll down, maybe. There we go. Oh, if I scroll down, I could fill in my email blast just like I would if I went straight to the email blast interface. Go down here and click send, and that will fire off my email blast. And there you go. So those are all of the things that you can do with the new customer list functionality. For now, the process leads is still there, and but eventually the idea is that this customer list is going to take over for that process leads page entirely. So I would say go in and start getting used to it, but because these standard filters are basically the same as the process leads page, there's not a whole lot of getting used to. It's has additional functionality, but all the functionality you're accustomed to is all still in place. So, as always, thanks a lot for joining me. And if you have any questions, concerns, feel free to give us a call or send an email to support@deltagroup.com, or you can leave a comment on our Facebook page on this video or on our YouTube channel. So, thanks a lot for joining me. Go ahead and subscribe to our channel or follow our Facebook page if you want to get any notifications when we go live with these new videos. And I'll see you next week. Thanks a lot.